I'm Phyllis Corson. I'm Billy Constantine's grandmother.
All right, stage 1 is infancy, 2 first year. If needs are dependably met, infants develop a sense of basic trust. Explain one time where you felt a level of basic trust to your parents or caregivers.
Don't recall back that far from myself, but being a caregiver for Billy for his first 5 years, I do recall that I couldn't leave the room when he was an infant or in his baby swing because he would cry if he didn't see us in the same room. And he did build a trust when he saw, after a while, he learned that we would return, and he started to trust us.
Do you think parenting today is similar or different to when you were an infant?
When I was an infant, there weren't as many activities available. We spent a lot of time with our moms, because they were stay-at-home moms, and we would take walks and play in the house. Now there's so many more activities for the infants and the parents to do, or even for working mothers. The children do get out more and exposed more to other people.
Stage 2 is toddlerhood, first year to third year. Toddlers learn to experience their will and do things for themselves, or they doubt their abilities. Reflect on a time when you were very young and learned to experience your own will and do things for yourself.
Again, I was pretty young, cannot recall, but I do remember with Billy expressing himself. He was lactose intolerant and wasn't able to eat mac and cheese, and I would put mac and cheese on the table and he'd have a fit until we would serve him some. He could express himself at an age of 2.
And what was an experience where you doubted yourself?
Oh, okay. I remember when I was probably 3 years old, and I didn't want to walk because I would hurt, my hips would hurt. So I would sit down on the floor and take my shoes off. My mother would put them back on and insist that I'd walk, whether we were going shopping or where we were. And I realized then that I could.
Stage 3 is preschool, 3 to 6 years. Preschoolers learn to initiate tasks and carry out plans, or they feel guilty about their efforts to be independent. Recall what your favorite activities were when you were 3 to 6 years old.
Favorite activities then, again, was family. We spent a lot of time going over the bridge to Philadelphia to visit with my grandmother, and we were all toddlers and preschoolers and lots of cousins, and we would get together every Sunday evening for dinner and play with our cousins. And it's a vivid memory I still have of my family.
Do you think it is the same or different for preschoolers now?
Probably not the same. I'm sure that we didn't have a lot to do, so family dinners on Sunday night with the entire extended family was very important. Now children are very involved in activities and families are spread out, so hopefully they would have some memories of family time together, but I don't think it's the same.
Elementary school, 6 years to puberty. This is stage 4. Children learn the pleasure of applying themselves to tasks, or they feel inferior. Explain one occasion in elementary school where you were left confident in your abilities, and one occasion where you felt inferior.
Felt inferior in grade school. In the primary years, was afraid of school. And my classmates were all very confident and happy to be there, and I felt very intimidated. And the nuns in the Catholic school decided to give me a job, and I would be responsible for setting out the priest's garments the day before every Mass. And that's all I needed to have a job and to be important, and I gained confidence and turned me around.
Stage 5 is adolescence, teen years into 20s. Teenagers work at refining a sense of self by testing roles and then integrating them to form a single identity, or they become confused about who they are. How did you refine a sense of self while you were in your teens? Did you go through any phases?
Teen years were good. We had good social life at school, good academics, and I got involved in sports. And being tall, I played basketball, and I loved it. And that's all I needed. And got very confident and enjoyed myself.
or how old were you when you most clearly realized who you were and what you were all about?
After high school, a year in college, and then I left school that summer and got a job in retailing and found that was my passion. Worked at Strawberries and Clothier and worked my way up. I got a paycheck and was independent for the first time. And that was my career, and I felt a lot of self-worth.
All right. Stage 6 is young adulthood, 20s to early 40s. Young adults struggle to form close relationships and to gain the capacity for intimate love, or they feel socially isolated. Describe your biggest romantic heartbreak in your 20s and 40s, and the moment of feeling a sense of love and belonging during those years.
Can't recall any heartbreaks. We all dated in groups, so we had a good time. It was a nice social time for all of us. True love was my best friend, who became my husband, father of our children, and they were the most rewarding years, from 20 to 40, getting married and raising a family.
Middle adulthood. This is stage 7, 40s to 60s. In middle age, people discover a sense of contribution to the world, usually through family and work, or they feel a lack of purpose. Reflect on your 40s to 60s. What are you most proud of, and what are you least proud of when it comes to work and time with family?
40s to 60s were good years. Very proud of my family, of my girls, of their accomplishments, of their careers, and their choice of life, and husbands and raising families. They were the best years. I honestly can't think of any regrets that I have in those time periods.
Late adulthood, stage 8. Late 60s up and up. Reflecting on your life, an older adult may feel a sense of satisfaction or failure. What is the bravest thing you ever did?
Okay, looking back, I would say the bravest thing I ever did was when I had to be alone. Up till then, life was smooth. Always had somebody to confide in, to question, bounce things off of. 3 years ago, when Billy's grandfather died, I found myself without that partner and having to make decisions for myself. Thoughts of going back to work, selling my house, buying a car, being independent, cleaning out our house. These, to me, are brave things I have to do because I have to do them by myself.
If you could be any age again, what age would you be and why?
I would be in my 40s. Responsibilities were less, more time to myself, more friends, and friends with children, my children's ages. So we were pretty much independent now, and we had a nice social life with our partners or just with our girlfriends, and a little more money to spend, and there was much more to do.
What do you think the key to a long and happy marriage is?
A trust. Never have to question each other. Trust in each other, and being your best friend, married to your best friend, and spending time alone, making time for yourselves. From the time our girls were little, we would get a babysitter every Saturday night and have date night and go out to dinner, and we did that almost until the day he died.
What's the key to a long and happy life?
Family. Family and love and grandchildren.
All right. And what is the #1 thing on your bucket list?
Would like to get back to Vermont in the fall and see the fall foliage, which we did every year, and I do miss that.
So it seems like my grandmother's favorite stage would probably be when she was in stage 7. She had a lot of independence, a lot of time to spend with her daughters and her friends, and she had a lot of money. And her least favorite stage would probably be stage 4, because she was very, she didn't have a lot of confidence in herself, and she didn't like school.